Olga, and this is my channel about startups. Today we will talk about my personal way of getting green card in the US. It took me just 2 years and 2 months from the moment I entered the US with B1, B2 touristic visa to get my green card. So I'll talk about my experience. If you like my content, please subscribe, share, give me some likes. Thank you. So, so my path was the following. I came to the US with my touristic B1, B2 visa, and I got it in Poland. I am Russian, but I got it in Poland in February 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And the reason why I wanted to go to the US when the pandemic just started was because I became part of top B2B accelerator in Silicon Valley called Alchemist. So I used this paper showing, see, Alchemist is waiting for me to come, and it's a 6 months program, and I need visa. So I got my touristic visa, but then flights were canceled, and I only managed to come to the US in August 2020. San Francisco was a ghost town. So I was part of, and my startup was part of this Alchemist Acceleration program. So on the border, they stamped me, and it was they usually with this B1 B2 visa they give you 6 months. So you can stay in the US, but you can't work. That's just touristic visa. You might come for the business purpose, but you can't work. Uh, so, right, a couple of months later, my partner and my husband applied for O1 visa. That's a visa for talents, and I will talk about it a little bit more later. And he applied only for himself, but I got O3 as a dependent. So I could stay 3 years in the country with my O3 visa, but I can't work. That's a very important thing. So he had O1, I had O3. And if you leave the US with this type of visa, you then, to enter back, you need to go to an American consulate and put the stamp of O1 in your passport. So you can't just enter the US without it. But you can stay in the country for 3 years and don't leave, or I think 2 years, and then you need to go and stamp it. But you can stamp it in any country, in Mexico, in Canada, etc., in Poland, in Europe, everywhere, in the US consulate. And then 6 months later, I applied for O1. I got my own O1 visa for talents. And as soon as we got O1 visas, we applied for EB1 status, which gives you green card. So in total, it took me 2 years and 2 months to get my green card. The cost, it's not cheap, so O1 costs around 10K for a person, and EB1 10K for a person. I would suggest you to work with a lawyer, because O1 visa is very tricky. It's a visa for talents, but some company should apply for you to get it. So it can be your own startup. That's my case. So my startup, where I am a co-founder, applied for me to have this visa. And this company has to be outstanding. If it's a startup, it should disrupt some industry, be innovative. Maybe I also got some funding. And you have to be outstanding. But no worries. I mean, many people in this case are very outstanding. They just don't know about that. So you have to have improvement of your achievements. And there are 10 possibilities of these achievements, and you have to hit 3 of them. At least 3 achievements you should have or must have. It's either publications, so maybe about you as a founder or manager of big corporation. It's good if there is a link between your startup, for example, if it's a startup case, and your achievements. At least it should be in one industry. For example, in my case, I was showing my publications about me as a founder of my previous startup, but I was explaining and why you need lawyer, because there should be lots of explanations. And I was explaining that my previous startup actually That's how I got to my existing startup. So my existing startup is a spin-off from my previous experience, and I was a CEO and co-founder in this previous startup, and I have lots of publications. And it's fine if these publications are on the national level. In my case, it was Russia. In your case, it can be India, Turkey, France, whatever. On your national level, it doesn't have to be US publications. So it's fine if it was in your country, but it was a proven achievement of you and your company, or you as a top manager in a big corporation. Uh, it might be participation in conferences, so you were a speaker. It might be licenses or patents that your company has, prizes, grants. For example, when I was a teenager, I won a grant, a program called Flex, to go to the US to study in the US school, and I won this grant. So I also showed it as a proof of my record. Also, being a judge in some competition is a good achievement. So your lawyer will help you prove your talents. And when you come to the U.S., you will need to work for the company that applied for this kind of visa for you. So I hope that was an interesting content. Please give me some reactions. Subscribe. Thank you.